Welcome to this week's episode of Hometown Happenings. I'm Drea Rogers. She's nobody.
I'm Angela Ballard, and look at this. What are these overalls?
I'm in my
Who
overall
says those are in
overall
style?
It's my overalls era. Now, I don't know how you can judge me with what you're wearing.
Hey, this is Christmas time, and you're supposed to wear your Christmas sweaters.
That dog's wearing a purse, necklace, I don't know. That's terrible. Terrible.
I think it's adorable.
Mm-hmm. So don't say anything about my overalls.
What
But I have extra storage. Look, I have chocolate in my overalls.
Only. Okay, so funny story. Today I fed her kid cinnamon roll and a brownie, and then he got a candy bar.
All in the span of like an hour and a half.
In at least a 2-hour span. He's gonna be hyped up all night long, thanks to me.
So I took him to my mother so we could record tonight.
Yeah. So
sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mamie.
My bad.
But so today we have some really good information for you guys. We're going to talk about steps to selling a house, things you should do to help get your house ready to sell, because I know that you guys are going to be thinking this spring about getting your house on the market to sell, and so having the tips in your head or writing them down or whatever, but knowing the things you need to know ahead of time, so that you can start working on them as spring comes in, get your house on the market to sell. We're going to give you some tips.
Okay. Well, I have no idea what your tips are. How many are there?
Like 5 or 6.
Okay, what's number 1?
Curb appeal.
Oh, yeah, my house would not make it on that whole. I didn't realize how important curb appeal was. Most people think, I would have thought you just want like a blank slate, don't worry about nothing, the buyer will make it their own someday. But that doesn't seem to be the...
No. So you have to realize that your home's first impression, which we all care about first impressions. People say the first impression is the lasting
That's
impression.
That's why we take professional photos.
So exactly why we take professional photos. But the first impression of your home when it goes up for sale is the curb appeal. What people see when they pull in the driveway, or the first photo that they see of your home. On the listing. That's your curb appeal. And so if it's just kind of blah, sometimes when you have a more expensive home and you don't have much curb appeal, that can make it
look less appealing.
Very much less appealing. So,
well, the other flip side of that coin isn't just landscaping as much as it is like my house has random kids things all in my yard.
Yeah.
So I got to clean it up a little bit.
Yes. So, you don't want clutter out in your front yard. If you're out in the country where that doesn't really matter, in town that doesn't seem to be an issue. Also, you might need to touch up with some paint, or you might have a gutter that's hanging, or a little bit of soffit fascia deterioration that happens over time. Those things really are important. A lot of loans don't like to see peeling paint. So,
I know, I just had one of those.
Yeah.
We had to have it scraped and repainted.
Yeah, so that is something that is minor and inexpensive, but can really help you get more money out of your home if you give it that little bit of a wow factor
right out the gate.
Right out of the gate, and you don't have to spend much money on it.
Okay, curb appeal. Put that on the checklist.
Number 2, staging.
Oh, yeah, this is a big one.
So sometimes when you live in a home, I know for me, like we live there, so
it looks like we live there.
Right, your house looks like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we put shelves up and we use that as our pantry. But then when you have a potential buyer coming to look at the house, in their mind they think, oh, there's not enough food storage in this house. If they can't store their food properly, how am I going to store my food properly? Right. Or if you have, overwhelming amounts of clothes, it's going to make your closets look like they're not big enough. And that may not necessarily be the case for those people, but that's what they see from you. So packing stuff up, making it less cluttered, also depersonalizing, so taking away your kids' photos, things like that, where they can make it feel like their own.
A lot of agents that really go the extra mile, they ask me as a real estate photographer to take photos off the wall or use Photoshop to hang a new photograph that's not of their child on the wall, and that's a pricier option when you could just take it down.
Right.
So just be thinking ahead that, hey, there's going to be random strangers in my house. Maybe I don't need the picture of my daughter hanging on the wall above the fireplace.
And sometimes you do, you know, it doesn't suffice to just take it down because then you have a big empty space on the wall. But maybe you can find an inexpensive piece of art to hang there instead, or rotate some of your artwork from other areas of the house around. Because you don't necessarily have to have every room staged perfectly. So if you had a nice piece of art, maybe in a guest bedroom, you could move that to the living room or something like that. And it wouldn't be as big a deal in the guest bedroom to have no decor or something.
To be more minimal.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's something that a real estate professional can help you with too. Mm-hmm. So if you are concerned when you're deciding to sell and calling an agent, that's something you can ask them. Hey, what are your thoughts on some of the staging tips that I can do?
Well, I know we have checklists and stuff that really help walk through that process.
Yes, we have checklists we give our sellers to help them know exactly what they should do and should not do. Thirdly is pricing. So pricing of the home is very important.
Right, and we don't roll up to people's houses and just ask them what they want to list it for.
That's right.
There's a lot of work that goes into that on our end.
There is. So one thing that Drea and I really pride ourselves on is the fact that we don't price a house without putting 2 feet on the ground in the house and looking at it with our own eyes. We don't rely on
And I know that can be
images.
really frustrating for a seller who's, let's hurry up and get this house on the market, let's get the ball rolling. Well, we will, but we need to go about it the right way.
Right.
So we have to lay eyes on the property, and
we're doing you a disservice if we don't.
Right, and as a photographer, I know that how deceiving pictures can be.
Exactly. So we will come out to your house, we'll look at your house, and we will then go back and we look at close comps, and we don't just look at the MLS, we look at Data Scout, which is tax records and things like that, to come up with a price. We're
using comparable properties.
We're using comparable things that are similar to how it will go once you got it under contract.
Right.
We are not appraisers, but we can give you a market value from our side of things.
Right, and then because you don't want to price it too high. I know what I hear a lot is, I want to leave room for negotiation.
Mm-hmm. Price high, and we'll take
work
less.
Our way down.
Yeah.
But then you find most of the time it just sits there, and then you end up having to lower your price anyways.
And then you've lost your momentum because you've been on the market for a week or 2 weeks, or in some of the cases now, 100 and something days.
Right.
And you're on the back burner. People are like, oh, that house has been on the market for 3 months. I ain't worried about that house.
Right.
And just keep scrolling right on by. What's wrong with it? That's what they start thinking. Oh, they'll take so much less. It's been on the market for 120 days. There must be something wrong with it. They'll take 50,000 under.
So that's why we try to price it as accurately as possible straight out the gate.
And haven't you noticed that when we price them accurately up front, we get multiple offers usually?
Oh my goodness, and they go above asking price.
Yeah, or they're showed every single day and you get an offer within a week.
Right.
So pricing is a very, very, very big deal, I feel like.
I didn't realize until I got into the business how much thought goes into it. It's not just, hey, what do you want to sell your house for?
Right.
We do take that into account.
Yes, we do. And when we tell you it's going to take a few days for us to get back with you on a price, that's not because I need to just sit on it a minute. It's because I'm really working hard.
We're crunching numbers
to figure it out, because ultimately I want to get you the most money.
Yeah, that's our job.
Right.
All right, what's your next one you got?
Marketing. That's like totally your alley right there.
Yeah, it's just this getting in front of the camera myself is the part that I don't like.
I know you like to be the person behind the camera, but you have some really good ideas, so tell them about your marketing.
Walkthrough videos are my favorite thing in the world, because how many people shop online for literally everything.
Right.
So walkthrough videos give you a real life perspective of walking through a home. I also am a huge fan of Matterport.
Yeah, and so when you talk to like real estate people, they have kind of mixed opinions on it, but I have a lot of clients tell me they really like them.
Yeah. So Matterport, for those of you who aren't familiar, is a Google Street View of an inside spot of the home. So you just click the dots and it gives you a walkthrough, and you can pan around 360 degrees and see where you're standing. My favorite Matterport to date is that house with the gremlin.
Yeah, where you put a spot right in front of the gremlin.
Absolutely,
so people could look at that.
They had a 3-foot gremlin. It was fantastic. Favorite Matterport to date. So that's really handy, but it also, at the end, once we get that whole Matterport built.
It's like a 3D image.
It creates a dollhouse view, is what it's called, and it's a 3D rendering of the home, and it also comes up with a pretty accurate blueprint that we can create as well. So even if you're not listing your house and you're going to remodel or you're going to add on and you don't have original blueprints for your house, we can Matterport it and create blueprints that you can then use to do those kinds of things.
Okay, I didn't even think about it like that. That's pretty cool. So marketing is really important. So professional photography, online platforms for marketing your home.
Right, because it's it's more than a local reach. We also do the old school way. I just sent a bunch of just listed cards for a new listing. It's going to hit all the houses in the area with a postcard in the mail. But I mean, there's also online marketing allows us to reach people all over the world.
We also do something called open house.
Open houses. I love open houses.
I do too. I love. But that's weird that you do because you don't really.
I don't like people, but I like hanging out with you.
Oh my.
I'm vibing tonight. Do you not feel it?
Yeah. Okay. So, but you do them by yourself sometimes too.
Yeah, I take my husband. But yeah, I do them by myself. I like open houses because it's more people in the door for one purpose, and I like that it's focused. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. I know the intention
is to
it's
be there
goal oriented
and to see that particular house.
Mm-hmm.
I like them too because sometimes I hold other houses open that are not necessarily my listing, and then it gives me like insight into those houses. So then
I feel like you need to clarify too that our open houses, like we're talking about, are not like how everybody else does open houses.
Right. We do our brokerage holds at least an open house a month where office wide and so like if other agents are busy and can't hold their own listings open, some of us will volunteer to hold houses open if we don't have listings that need to be held open or what have you.
Yeah, we work together to help each other.
Yeah, to make sure that all the houses get put on the open house and they're open to the public. And what's really cool about it is when you're there, you get to, not only do we do walkthroughs and go to everybody's listings so we know about them, but when you're physically there and you're having to 10 times show someone that house, you really learn about the house. Mm-hmm. And many times I have learned so much about the house that I end up leaving there calling somebody saying, I have the house.
Right.
Like,
this is the one you've been looking for.
I found it. We need to go look at it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just get that extra knowledge about the house. And that's another marketing tool that we do is we go and we look at houses that are listed within our brokerage.
Yes.
Weekly pretty much, so that we know more about them, so that we can,
on top of the team meeting we have every week where
we talk about them,
and look at all the pictures.
Yeah, for sure. So number 5 is timing of listing your house.
Ooh, yeah, again, not one of those things that I thought about until you.
So right now with interest rates the way they are, when you have a house that's like under 200,000, that's a really, really, really hot item.
No joke.
So listing now or anytime really.
Right, when everyone's like, well, I'm gonna wait till after the holidays. There's not really any need.
No. And I hate to say it, but then those people that have those over $300,000 houses, now's not the time to wait either, because everybody's coming in for Christmas to visit their family, and then they're
we
like,
want to move closer to grandma. And while we're there, we should pop in and check out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have several people already scheduling out for closer to the holidays to go look at some things
while they're here,
because they're coming into town to visit family and they want to shop while they're here. So I
don't see the reason.
Can't say that waiting till after Christmas or before Christmas or...
Well, and the other thing is if you have someone coming to look at your house this time of year, they're usually very serious. It's not, we're not dilly-dallying, we're not, we're just browsing.
Well, people don't want to get out in the cold, first off.
Yeah, no joke.
And a lot of times people are having to take off work right now to go look at houses because it gets dark at 5.
Mm-hmm.
So unless we're on a weekend, and people don't really like to give up their weekends that much
unless they're invested.
Right. So between the weekend and having to see before 5 because it gets dark
Mm-hmm.
and you can't look at the outside of a house in the dark.
Right.
They're pretty serious people.
Right. But I also, like, as far as timing goes, we talked about momentum. There's
Right.
just that short period of time where, oh, this is the new hot ticket thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to take advantage of that window there that
Right.
you have.
And
What number was that?
that was 5.
We are rolling.
We are. 6 is real estate experts. Using a real estate expert.
Oh, why they should call us.
That's right.
That was really sly that you slipped that in there like that.
Well, I left it for you.
Oh my gosh. Why should you use me? Because
Because you get this.
Because you got this. Is that not enough? No, I've told you my theory on this. So, before real estate, weddings was my big thing. And I thrive under pressure. I enjoy it. I like the high stakes and the big decisions, and I live for that. And real estate is just that in a different dress.
Okay.
And I feel like this is a big decision that most people don't get to experience a whole lot in their lives. They don't have the skill set that we've been trained in. And I feel like that's reason enough to call a professional.
Right.
I mean, how many loopholes do we have to know, and when things come up and the paperwork, Lord have mercy, all the contracts, all the things that we have to be able to translate. And I don't know about you per se, but I work my tail off. You may sit in the office a lot and look at a computer.
What? Did you really just say that?
I'm just kidding. You are actually like one of the few people that work more than me.
Because who calls me like randomly at like 10 o'clock some days and is like, why are you not in the office?
That's true.
Because I'm there every day, and I'm there till like after 5 every day. Well, I was showing houses.
Yeah. The only reason you're not in the office is because you're just doing more real estate things.
Exactly.
So, hiring a real estate professional, you're hiring someone who's going to work hard for you.
You should be
your best interest.
And you should be interviewing agents and not just picking your friend.
Oh, absolutely. No joke. Just because you've known somebody your entire life doesn't mean that they're going to work the hardest they can for you.
Right.
That's kind of mean to say now that I've said it out loud, but that's the case.
And I 100% feel that way. I've always, in the past, before doing this job, when I was a nurse and when I was different things, I knew people that did real estate, and so like I hired a friend kind of thing, people I knew. But now, after doing it and knowing what I know, not saying any of them didn't do me a good service, because the 2 houses that I sold within a few days.
Right.
Both times, and I feel like I got good prices for both of them, so I'm not questioning any of that. But what I'm saying now, knowing what I know, just using your friend could almost be a disservice to you, because you may not feel like they're doing what they should be doing for you,
but you don't
and
feel
it's
like
harder to say that to them. And
yeah.
And do you want your doctor to be your friend? Do you want your lawyer to be your friend?
Right. If you're in trouble, are you calling your best friend, or are you going to call the best that you know?
Yeah. Or are you going to call the best attorney in town
yeah.
that's going to fight for you?
Right.
Are you going to call the best surgeon in town that's going to save your life?
Right.
You need to call the best real estate agent that's going to work the hardest for you, because guess what? You're paying for that service too.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So, and I say that as a nurse who wants to work hard for their people
right.
and take care of their patients. I would do the same thing.
Same thing.
In this.
Yeah.
So those are our tips for selling a house and getting your house ready to sell.
I just realized you have Christmas fingernails.
I do, because it's Christmas.
It just goes with the horribleness of your sweater.
So, and this podcast may not air till after the first of the year, because we're trying to get our content up and running early. So I may be Christmassy. No, I think it's going to air next week, isn't it?
I don't know. You're the boss.
Because that's why I wore a Christmas sweater. I don't even remember. I don't know what's going on. But thanks for listening, and just know that this is the craziness of our lives.
We're overworked.
No, we're not.
See ya.
See ya.